Is this just eye-catching fashion? Or is Thailand quietly rewriting what it means to be a man in pop culture? From lace shirts to mafia romance, these 10 stars aren't just dressing different. They're shifting how Asia sees masculinity, emotion, and queer-coded power. Each look, each role, each quiet act of beauty, it's not rebellion, it's evolution. And by the end of this video, you'll see why Thailand is leading it. When Together, the series debuted in 2020, it not only ushered in a new wave of Thai BL dramas, it also quietly reshaped the culture. And amid that change, Metawin plays Tawinan, a charming, reluctant fake boyfriend who finally discovers his true feelings. On paper, it's a lighthearted college-themed romantic comedy, but on screen, Win delivers on multiple layers. His role isn't bombastic or designed to be viral. Instead, it comes alive in the small moments. The forced laughs, the tender glances, the vulnerability masked by witty sarcasm. And through it all, something unexpected happened. Win turned the pretend to date a guy into one of the most touching moments Thai television has ever seen. But that was just the beginning. Continuing on F4 Thailand, Win plays Kavan, a guy who breaks hearts with designer sunglasses. This is not your typical role of a lovesick guy. Kavan is suave, stylish, but also emotionally vulnerable when necessary. Win plays the role with surprising sensitivity. One episode, he's a flirt in a velvet jacket. The next, he's talking about heartbreak that's too real to be fiction. And let's be real, Kavan's wardrobe, the pinnacle of gay high society. There's something revolutionary about watching a male lead wear pearl earrings and a floral jacket without flinching. Win doesn't ask for permission, he creates space. Over the years, his roles have matured, and so has his message. Win isn't rebellious, he doesn't preach, but with every role, every look, there's a quiet statement being made. You don't have to be loud to be brave, and you don't have to be conventional to be lovable. Whether he's playing a romantic lead or posing in chiffon on a magazine cover, Win offers an alternative to outdated notions of masculinity. He's not afraid of tenderness. He doesn't show strength through aggression. He shows it through vulnerability and the courage to wear pink silk without mocking it. And don't forget his everyday style. Win's red carpet presence feels more like curated art than celebrity fashion. At one point, he wore an oversized powder blue suit with pearls dripping down his neck. Other times, he wears a clean, neutral look that wouldn't look out of place in Paris or Seoul. But the thing is, he wears it all with that same calm energy. No wink, no gimmick. Just confidence. And confidence, when combined with authenticity, is infectious. For a generation still figuring out what it means to be masculine, feminine, or simply themselves, Metawin has become a rare phenomenon. A leading man who doesn't have to be tough to be strong. He's proof that genderlessness, elegance, and emotional expression aren't contradictions, they're possibilities. Because possibilities are, Win isn't just playing a role. He's giving a generation permission to live it. Before BL became the mainstream industry it is today, before scripts were written to satisfy international film buffs, there was Max Nattapol, who walked into the frame as if he had nothing to prove and much to define. He wasn't a surfer, he was making waves. When he played Korn in Together With Me, he wasn't just playing a role, he was entering uncharted territory. A masculine lead with emotional depth, romantic sensitivity, and the kind of chemistry with Tulpakorn that made every other couple that year look like they were rehearsing. Max took what could have been a flashy fan service role and turned it into something quietly groundbreaking. His role didn't shy away from intimacy. He respected it. He doesn't flaunt his homosexuality. He conveys it deeply, tenderly, and authentically. The result? Korn isn't just your average romantic lead. He's a rare example of how love can be told in such a simple, down-to-earth way on Thai screens. In real life, Max's style tells the same story, with a little more sparkle. He's the kind of guy who can pull off a black turtleneck look like avant-garde and then casually show up in a see-through crimson shirt like it's just a regular Tuesday. His fashion is always pushing the envelope, not in an I'm trying too hard way, but in a this is who I am and it's awesome way. From tailored silhouettes that challenge gender norms to fabrics as soft and flowing as his on-screen presence, Max walks the fine line between classic masculinity and modern expression and somehow makes it look effortless. But it's not just what he wears, it's how he wears it. With the air of someone who understands that identity isn't static and image isn't a cage. Whether he's sitting front row at a fashion show or staring deep into the eyes of a co-star, Max moves like a man completely comfortable with ambiguity. And that ambiguity has become his superpower. He's never had to declare himself part of any movement because every look, every role, and every calculated silence speaks volumes. In a landscape where queer roles are often seen as stepping stones or supporting roles, Max has played them as the leads in important love stories. His impact doesn't come from shouting, it comes from performing. And if his wardrobe consisted of nothing more than sheer jackets and scarves, all the better. From his emotional intensity on screen to his bold elegance off-screen, Max Nattapol doesn't just normalize queerness, he makes it cool. Speaking of cool, let's talk about a new generation of fans. Mix Sahaphap Wongratch. A different style, a different energy, but equally memorable. Have you ever met someone whose energy is simply nice? That's Mix Sahaphap. He can melt you with just a half smile, then have you questioning the entire definition of masculinity by the end of each episode. Don't let his soft voice fool you. This man has been quietly leading a queer-coded fashion and performance revolution without saying a word. His breakthrough came with A Tale of 1,000 Stars, in which he played Tion, a privileged young man who finds redemption, love, and himself in the most unexpected place, a rural village, in the arms of a quiet forest ranger. The chemistry is exquisite, and the emotions, not a bit shy. And suddenly, this BL drama isn't just a romance, it's an awakening. Not just for the characters, but for the audience who, for the first time, were witnessing a love story between two men that wasn't based on show or stereotype, but on tenderness. Real tenderness. Mix didn't play Tion as a fictional character. He played him as a human being, flawed, scared, curious, and full of emotion. And in doing so, he created a new kind of male lead in Thai drama, one who can cry, who can hurt, who can love, and still carry a quiet strength. That in itself was a step forward. Gay, yes, but based on something real, something that made the audience feel safe. Now step outside the studio and into Mix's wardrobe, and you'll see a completely different kind of storytelling. Oversized pastel sweaters, ruffled cuffs paired with masculine trousers, cardigans layered like high-fashion armor. Mix dresses like something out of a romance novel, with a touch of Gen Z chaos. But it works, because his fashion isn't about fierce rebellion, it's about softness as a badge of honor. He doesn't have to prove anything, he just shows up, slick, thoughtful, impeccably styled, and suddenly the rules are obsolete. It's not about changing genders to shock. It's about saying, I look great in this, and it doesn't need a label. That confidence? That's his most powerfully queer energy. Not loud, not forced, but genuine. Mix represents the kind of masculinity that makes room for everyone. And in today's industry, that's rare. But don't mistake his softness for passivity. Mix is intentional. He chooses roles and styles that convey a message, even when he doesn't. He knows his audience, and he knows the weight of presence. And he does it gracefully, one pleated shirt at a time. From his emotional story to his romantic yet realistic wardrobe, Mix Sahaphap is the quiet storm you've never seen before, but will never forget. And now, let's switch gears, but keep it subtle. Let's talk about someone whose on-screen presence is as sharp as his cheekbones. Wichapas Sumettikul. If Max is a pioneer and Mix is a poet, then Wichapas, he's the problem. The kind of problem who shows up in black leather, makes eye contact for 0.5 seconds, and suddenly your standards for fictional men are shattered forever. But Bible isn't just a BL heartthrob, he's something much rarer, a living contradiction. Elegant yet sharp, soft yet fierce, traditional face, progressive demeanor, and oh yes, fashion so powerful, it could stop time if it wanted to. Bible made a huge splash in the public eye as Kin in Kinporsh, the series. On paper, he's the heir to a mafia empire. On screen, he's a queer-coded elegant guy with a penchant for bodyguards and eyes that could melt marble. This isn't your typical BL romance. It's adventurous, high fashion, and unabashedly sexy. And Bible doesn't flinch for a second. He's the embodiment of strength without being toxic, weakness without being vulnerable. The chemistry with Natawin. Let's just say, everyone's still recovering. But what makes Bible's performance so groundbreaking isn't genre, it's nuance. He doesn't rely on stereotypes. He builds something cooler, quieter, deeper. His Kin is a man struggling, with responsibility, with his desires, with a world that demands a unique version of masculinity. And Bible pulls it off so uncannily that you can't look away. Somehow, the most dangerous man in the room becomes the most emotionally exposed. That's not acting, that's transformation. And don't even get us started on Bible's fashion sense. The man can show up in a black suit, shiny boots, and a silver ring and still look like he invented minimalism. And the next day, a cropped jacket with flared pants and earrings that whisper queer excellence without saying a word. His style isn't rebellious, it's confident. Every look is curated. Every photo, it's intentional. He doesn't dress for fashion, he tells a story. What's quietly revolutionary about Bible is that he never flaunts his queerness, he celebrates it. In person, on the red carpet, in editorials, he shows queer young people that you don't have to choose between tough and soft, individuality and elegance. You can wear both. At the same time, if you want, wear heels. Bible represents a new chapter in queer presence, where power no longer demands dominance, and presence no longer demands loudness. He brings grace to intensity, fashion to emotion, and in doing so, he has quietly become a style icon for a generation seeking boldness without being aggressive. And just when you think you know him well, the next surprise comes. Which brings us to someone equally unexpected, but in a completely different style. Build Jakapan Puttha. Let's talk about charm, gentleness, and the quiet revolution of pastel suits. Build Jakapan isn't flashy or dramatic, no. He walks in quietly, dressed in a muted earth tone or all-white suit, looks around with a calm, commanding presence, and somehow takes over the room. That's his power. Subtle, but undeniable. And for fans of queer-coded elegance, Build is quietly redefining what it means to be bold. Let's revisit his unforgettable role in Kinporsh, the series, where he plays Pete, a tough guy bodyguard with a slow, beautiful, and painful heartbreak. Pete isn't the loudest or flashiest, but he's the most human. His journey, from loyal protector to man caught in a battle between love and self-discovery, is more powerful than most people expect. And Build pulls it off with grace, making the whole thing feel real, intimate, and queer in the best way. It's not about labels, it's about desire, about navigating emotions that don't fit neatly into neat boxes, about intimacy that's both tender and terrifying. The chemistry between Pete and Vegas, played by Bible, isn't just good, it's transformative. They've sparked not just a fan base, but a conversation about complicated love, toxic healing, and finding tenderness after trauma. In Build's hands, Pete becomes more than a character. He becomes a symbol of the quiet resilience of the LGBTQ+ community. Now step into Build's closet and prepare to be surprised. The man's style is enigmatic. At first glance, it's all cozy sweaters and comfortable tailored suits. But then boom, a pair of pearl earrings, or a cropped jacket paired with leather pants. He knows how to balance masculine minimalism with just enough sophistication to make you wonder, did he just break the binary with that outfit? And the answer is yes, he did. Build doesn't follow trends. He curates identity. His style choices are personal, never performative. Whether in casual streetwear shoots or high-end magazine shoots, he exudes a soft, warm, welcoming presence, not awe. And in a space where fashion is often seen as a voice of shouting, Build's fashion listens to culture, emotion, and evolution. What sets Build apart quietly is that he doesn't pretend to be an icon. He just shows up, authentically, and somehow that's enough. He gives queer fans something rare, representation without acting, style without stereotypes, emotion without excuses. And isn't that what authentic presence is all about? From the screen to the sidewalk, Build's presence is a gentle reminder that queer energy doesn't have to be loud to be powerful. If you enjoy these stories and want to see more content celebrating queer representation in Thai entertainment, don't forget to like, subscribe, and share your thoughts in the comments. Your support keeps this conversation going, and that means a lot to us. Tawinan has a look that is unpretentious but invites attention. He doesn't storm in. He glides through a field of lavender, wearing a pastel suit, a half-tucked shirt, and just enough lip gloss to make you wonder, is this guy a K-drama prince, a fashion poet, or a queer dreamer with great hair? First made a splash in My Only 12%, a BL coming-of-age drama that doesn't rely on dramatic plot twists or scandalous tropes. Instead, it's a gentle, heartfelt exploration of friendship turning into love. And C's CU feels so genuine that it's hard to tell what's acting and what's real. His emotional vulnerability on screen isn't showy. It's relatable. And it's that vulnerability that makes queer audiences feel seen, respected, and frankly, romanced again. What sets C apart isn't just his chemistry with co-star Sahaphap. It's how natural he makes it all seem. The hand-holding, the soft gaze, the long pauses between lines, he doesn't act like he's playing a gay love interest. He acts like he's in love, period. No hesitation, no pretension, just sincerity. And in real life, C's wardrobe is a Pinterest board of queer-coded comfort. The cardigans look like they were hand-knitted by a cottagecore fairy. The loafers say, "I read poetry honestly." The fabrics are soft, the silhouettes are relaxed, and the color palette encompasses every shade of serenity. He's mastered the art of blending masculinity with sophistication. And somehow, it never feels forced. It feels inviting, as if the world he's created with his images is one you could comfortably live in too. C doesn't wear fashion as armor. He wears it as an expression. One day he's wearing pleated high-waisted pants. The next, he's wearing a soft turtleneck under a pearl-button blazer. Nothing stands out, but everything screams, "I know who I am, and I'm not afraid to dress like it." That quiet confidence, it's contagious. But more importantly, C represents something incredibly valuable to the queer community: gentleness. Not all queer imagery has to be bold and daring. Sometimes, quiet people break barriers. C's gentleness is not a weakness, it's a style, a statement, and a source of strength for fans who have long needed someone like him on screen. In a world that often values loudness, Tawinan proves that gentleness can be revolutionary. And if you've enjoyed the journey so far, there's more to come. Add some charm and enter the world of forced Jiratchapong Srisang, the man who makes even monochrome look sexy. Forced Jiratchapong walks like he owns the room, but he's very polished. He has that well-bred but still fashionable rebel vibe, like someone who says thank you while completely changing your definition of masculinity. He doesn't need to be flashy or shocking. His presence is clean, calm, and beautifully understated. Think minimalism with meaning. Think silk blouses with soul. Force made a strong impression in Enchante and A Boss and a Babe, where he often played a charming, seemingly cold character who turns out to be a softie when it comes to love. What makes these performances so impressive isn't just his chemistry with Puttha, it's how Force taps into the subtle nuances. His characters don't shy away from intimacy or emotion, they just unfold it slowly, like a perfectly paced novel. And in doing so, Force gives queer audiences something that's often missing: emotional realism wrapped in romantic elegance. His acting isn't dramatic, it's not flamboyant, it's not forced, it's just a slow build of trust, warmth, and eye contact, held for just one more second, and it says it all. Force isn't playing queer-coded characters for fantasy. He's acting like real people, fleshing out real emotions, and that's the point. He's making space for audiences who live in quiet uncertainty, yearning for tenderness, but afraid of how others will perceive it. And then, there's his fashion. If clean lines and careful detail were a love language, say, then Force would have mastered it. He's the kind of guy who can make a white t-shirt and slacks look like a Paris Fashion Week statement. But he's also not afraid to experiment. You'll find him in high-necked lace, monochrome silks, or tailored blazers that are just soft enough to make an impression, in a good way. His looks whisper rather than shout, but the message is clear. Beauty has no gender. Force's fashion isn't about androgyny for the sake of attention. It's about balance. He brings softness to structure, poetry to refinement. His style often screams romance, flowy silhouettes, pastels, and the occasional museum-worthy brooch. And throughout, he remains calm, composed, and quietly daring. What makes Force so meaningful to the queer community is how comfortable he is with the opposite. Strong yet gentle, quiet yet emotional, classic yet progressive. He shows that queer-coded doesn't have to be flashy or loud. It can also be elegant, calm, and a quiet confidence that grows on you like a favorite song. So tell me this. Has Force ever made you wonder why a man in pastel lace can feel more powerful than a CEO in a three-piece suit? Because it's the same. Exactly the same. Nanon Korapat is the kind of actor who can smile politely, hold your gaze for half a second, and somehow make you rethink your entire life plan. He doesn't have to wear anything over the top to get attention, although he certainly does. But there's something about his energy that signals a quiet rebellion. He's not trying to make a statement. He is that statement. Long before people started analyzing red carpet looks as queer-coded energy, Nanon was embodying flexible masculinity on screen. His role in Bad Buddy wasn't just groundbreaking. It was culture-shifting. He played Pat, a character who exuded confidence, loyalty, and, let's be honest, a little bit of chaos. But what makes the romance between Pat and Prawn stand out is how Nanon portrays masculinity with its complex emotional range. His Pat can be goofy, aggressive, vulnerable, and romantic, all in the same scene, and somehow it never feels contradictory. It feels liberating. There's no caricature, there's no over-the-top drama. Just two guys in love, and Nanon makes it feel as natural as possible. And the best part? He doesn't just act as someone discovering strangeness, he adds nuance. Fear, joy, confusion, tenderness. Every beat counts. For many young viewers, especially in Asia, Pat is more than a character. He's representation. He's catharsis. And then there's his fashion. Oh, his fashion. Nanon dresses like a Pinterest board curated by a Gen Z poet who grew up on Wong Kar-wai films. You'll see him in oversized suits, wide-leg pants, sheer layers, and crop tops that say, "Yes, I have feelings," and a slim waist. He's not afraid of genderless fashion. In fact, he embraces it with a confidence that makes even skeptics stop and think, wait, that linen blouse, is that amazing? It's never forced, it's never performative. Nanon doesn't dress to impress, he dresses to express himself. And through it all, his style whispers something powerful. You can be tender without being vulnerable, vibrant without being mocked, and a little queer without a press release. He's proof that femininity and masculinity can coexist, not as opposites, but as partners in the dance. What Nanon brings to the queer community, especially the younger generation, is this: a new role model. No noise, no hype, no trying to prove a point. Just someone who lives authentically, lives fearlessly, and dressing gender-conforming is optional. Which, let's be honest, it is. And if you've ever seen him in high-waisted pants and soft curls and thought, I want to live in that energy for a day, you're definitely not alone. So let's be honest, when did Nanon's wardrobe start giving you protagonist syndrome? Because in our opinion, he's been living in that era since day one. Krit isn't just breaking the mold, he's turning it into a handbag, wearing it to Fashion Week, and smiling sweetly while doing it. Part pop star, part beloved fashion model, part on-screen sensation, Krit Amnuaydechkorn isn't just expressing himself, he's building a whole new language for queer art in Thailand, one piece at a time. His rise to fame began with I Told Sunset About You, where he played Ayu, a guy caught between friendship, identity, and a love story that unfolds like poetry written in real time. PP doesn't play queer, he lives it. He gives voice to the silence. He makes you feel the silence between words, the unspoken tension between stares, the pain of not knowing where love ends and fear begins. For many queer audiences, Oe was more than a character. He is a memory, a reflection, a beautiful, vulnerable storm that creates space for those still searching for themselves. And then there's the music. Krit doesn't stop at drama. He puts his emotions into pop music and turns every note into a fashion moment. His music videos are visual feasts, fluid styling, soft boy vulnerability, explosive moments of glamour, and just enough drama to make your heart flutter. The fashion? It ranges from pearl-studded evening gowns to elaborate suits with plunging necklines. He's walked the red carpet in couture, graced magazine covers in sheer chiffon, and performed live in outfits that scream art without permission. Krit doesn't experiment with queer fashion. He owns it. His Instagram is a runway of rebellion, sometimes subtle, sometimes bold, always himself. And the best part? He does it all with a smile that says, yes, I know this see-through top is cool, and no, I'm not toning it down. For the queer community, especially in Asia, Krit is more than just a celebrity. He's a cultural change. He embodies what happens when someone refuses to hide their light and instead invites the world to see them. He offers hope to fans who are still hiding a part of themselves. He shows them that expressing yourself doesn't have to be loud to be revolutionary. It just has to be authentic. Whether he's singing on flashy stages or acting in emotional silence, Krit is living proof that you can be both soft and strong, feminine and fierce, sophisticated and cool, all at the same time. Now it's your turn. Of all the bold and brilliant Thai stars we've explored today, who inspires you the most? Who inspires you most with their style, presence, and quiet courage? Tell us, who's your favorite and why? We're all ears and appreciators. Title Kirati is the kind of actor who sneaks up on you in the best possible way. He doesn't walk into a room to grab attention. He walks in, slowly, delivering a performance full of raw emotion, and suddenly you realize you've just witnessed something quietly revolutionary. And the wild part? He makes it look effortless. In The Eclipse, Title plays Can, a character whose strangeness is not flashy or showy, but in every glance, every little expression, every moment of silence, it speaks louder than 1,000 words. His role isn't about fighting expectations. It's about existing in spite of them. Title breathes life into a boy who doesn't want to scream to be heard. He whispers, and you lean in. That's power. Where other actors might play it safe, Title plays softness like it's a superpower. He doesn't pose, he doesn't exaggerate, he feels. His performance is entirely internal, expressing complex, intelligent, and deeply emotional queer emotions. In an industry where subtlety is often overlooked, Title reminds us that not every revolution needs fireworks. Sometimes all it takes is a guy sitting quietly with his truth and refusing to shrink back. Then there's the fashion. Title's casual style is where things get interesting. He has that wardrobe chaos, but somehow everything works energy. One day, he's wearing soft neutrals and oversized button-downs. The next, he's wearing velvet pants, layered chainmail, and a shirt that completely ignores the concept of sleeves. What's his style? Boyfriend meets Bangkok art student, with enough queer flair to rock the LGBTQ+ timeline. Title isn't afraid of genderless style. He embraces it like an old friend. High-waisted pants, pastel sweaters, sheer jackets. He wears them not to provoke, but to express. His looks never scream, "Look at me." Instead, they whisper, "This is me." And that quiet confidence speaks volumes to queer fans on their journey to self-expression. What makes Title special to the community is his consistency. He doesn't just embrace queer looks or jump into BL roles just to advance his career. He shows up with grace, dedication, and an energy that tells viewers, it's okay to be soft. It's okay to not have it all figured out. You're still worthy. You're still beautiful. In a media world that often celebrates extremes, Title offers something groundbreaking. Permission to be tender, curious, and constantly evolving. For many queer fans, that's not just refreshing, it's healing. And perhaps that's the perfect way to close out this journey. 10 stars, 10 expressions of unfettered masculinity, 10 ways to say, this is me, and I'm not sorry. So which one resonated with you the most? Tell us who lit a fire under your skin, stole your heart, or made you feel a little more included. Because in the end, that's what this is all about. Representation that reflects who you are. Thank you for sticking with us through it all. If you're still here, you're not just watching a video. You're part of a conversation, a movement, a moment where queer expression, soft masculinity, and unabashed authenticity are finally being seen and celebrated. These 10 Thai stars didn't just challenge fashion rules or take on bold roles. They gave us space to feel, to question, to hope, and to dream in all their glory. Whether you came for the lace, the longing stares, or the quiet revolutions happening on screen and off, your staying means a lot, because every view, every comment, every shared moment helps amplify voices that are often left out. If this video made you feel inspired, comforted, or even just a little more seen, you know what to do. Like, subscribe, and let's keep this energy going. And most importantly, don't be afraid to wear a see-through blouse. We're cheering you on. Until next time, be bold, be soft, be yourself.